I am so excited to be back here. Lot of familiar faces. I'm one among you, and this is my way to kind of help my divas and dudes get healthier, and thrive in every shape and form. Okay. I am Priya. I am a diva first. The letters after my name just tells that I love school, nothing else, right? I have an insurance accepting registered dietitian practice, and I derive my professional purpose in helping my patients, my divas and dudes connect the dots between knowing and implementing lifestyle practices, in this case today, AI lifestyle practices, so that in the areas of eating better, moving better, sleeping better, managing your stressors better. You know what? It's part of the AI lifestyle too, so that each of you can experience better health outcomes, look at your long-term goals, make commitments, and, do those small little things every day in a way that works for you. Okay, so that's something about me. The framework for the series is like we'll have an introduction, a small group discussion, kind of really highlighting starting from next week what went well, what did not, what are some challenges that came up, and then kind of really build on it. We'll have a short lesson and a very simple recipe demonstration each week. You'll have the recipe to take with you, and there will be a quick quiz. I hope some of you know that I was a professor in my previous life, but for this quiz, there is no grades. No grades, nothing, all answers are acceptable. Okay, so there is no pass or fail. And then you get to, hopefully taste what I make and go home really inspired, motivated to implement some of the practices that you will form in the weeks ahead. I also want to make sure that in any of my series, the objective is progress, not perfection, and that progress can be in any shape or form in a way that works for you. Okay? Let me move ahead and these are the objectives for our series here. I really like that quote. I don't remember who it was, but the single biggest medical burden for our country is actually non-resolving inflammation, right? And that's a was a very insightful quote that I remembered, but with due credits to the person, I just put there anonymous. So what we will do today is understand what inflammation is. Many of us want to know, is all types of inflammation good or is it bad? So we'll really explore that. As I mentioned, we will also discuss different types of inflammation. What are some nutrition related anti-inflammatory compounds? We will discuss one of them today and then slowly kind of introduce one in each week. And learn and implement AI lifestyle pillars, which are those 4 pillars, a little bit each of the weeks, and you will gain confidence in the preparation of anti-inflammatory foods all along the way. Okay, so that's the objective for the series or the program. Today, we will discuss the 2 types of inflammation. What is the relationship between inflammation and chronic diseases? Omega-3 is that magic compound that we will discuss today, and what foods are available for you to be able to incorporate it every day. And then, through some demo and by you practicing at home, you will gain confidence in preparing anti-inflammatory foods, and you will continue to implement those pillars in your daily life. Okay? And stop me at any time if at all you have any questions. So, first quiz for the series. Inflammation is bad. Who thinks it's true?
It depends on the context. We need inflammation to counter infection.
There you go. So it's both. It's true and it's false too, right? So let's kind of look at what one of our friends mentioned here, that it depends on the context. You need it, but the analogy for inflammation is fire. We all need fire, right? We need fire to keep ourselves warm. We need fire to cook. But however, when that fire gets rampant, it causes destruction, right? And when that fire is prevalent or persistent, then it causes problems, even in the physical world out there, and it does cause problem inside our body too. So, inflammation is that mechanism that our body has to get things back into that balance. Homeostasis is nothing but balance. Homeostasis is the medical term or the fancy term for balance, right? So our body loves that balance, and inflammation or good inflammation is a way for our body to get back to that balanced state. So all inflammation is not bad. There is, that persistent inflammation or chronic inflammation that we will get to. That's something that you really want to address in your daily life, okay? So as Seema mentioned here, we do need inflammation. When you get a small cut, right, there is that inflammatory response that happens in your body. There is a cascade of reactions that happens in your body, and it helps that particular, cut or wound to repair, to heal, so that you can get back to, where your skin was, right? So, the whole process here is for that inflammatory response to help you with the recovery, so that you can get back to that balance or that homeostasis, right? So there are two types of inflammation. One is acute inflammation, which is the inflammation that happens when you have, an infection or, a cut or a wound. And that's the response that helps your body to recover, to heal, to get back to your balanced state. However, when that inflammatory switch is on always, that's when there is, persistent inflammation, and that inflammatory state or the chronic inflammatory state is what you don't want to be in, right? And we will talk about how you can address chronic inflammation today. What is one easily available blood marker that you can request your provider when you have your blood drawn with your PCP to make sure what is your inflammation level, and then you are able to work on it. So to kind of reinforce what causes acute, which is that, good inflammatory response is usually, as she mentioned, some injuries, any infections, any tissue damage, when you have a fever, that's, anything that's accompanied by some swelling, some redness, some, some hotness, right? So anything of those will cause your acute inflammation. And when, something is persistent, it could be, when that infection doesn't go away, right? And if it's already there, always there, and if there are certain food sensitivities and you are having it day in and day out, and some toxins, and of course the SAD diet, right? The standard American diet, which is laden with added sugar, processed food, lot of salt, and then sleep. When you are not able to get that good restful sleep, that's also one of the reasons why your chronic inflammation kind of, persists. And then, when you are not moving your body, that is another reason why, the inflammation is not able to resolve. Okay, so knowing the difference between acute and chronic inflammation, and knowing the causes, and being able to address some of these, we will talk about, the anti-inflammatory diet, how to kind of support your sleep hygiene, and how to handle your stress, and with, moving every day, how you can be, always moving. So what are some conditions that chronic inflammation can lead to? What do you think? What are some medical conditions or?
Well,
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. What else? Cancer is the final one. There are, what else kind of leads you? leads to?
I would say, what is it? Like lymphedema,
Mm,
any type of swelling. I would say,
yeah.
or like you say, like infection
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't go away. Like
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Colitis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All
yeah.
of that.
Yeah, totally. So, cancer for certain, anything that causes swelling, but any cardiovascular problem like high blood pressure, even, type 2 diabetes, any autoimmune disorders, any metabolic syndrome related disorders, neurological problems, Alzheimer's, of course, cancer, all of them have that chronic systemic infection, CSI, at its core, right? So it's just not cancer. There are other conditions too. And one of the reasons why, those conditions exist is because of that chronic inflammation that's not getting resolved. Okay. So what are some signs of possible chronic inflammation? When somebody has consistent elevated blood glucose levels, that's an indication that your body is fighting, right? And that glucose levels are something that your body needs to, get the resources to the appropriate cells. So that's one of the indicators that there is some chronic inflammation going on. Any GI issues that's persistent, that's not going away, is another possible reason for chronic inflammation, or a sign that there is something going on. Fatigued, always feeling tired, that's another sign. Any skin issues that's not resolving, that's another sign. Brain fog, that's something that, I don't know, we all can associate with at some point in time. So those are some signs. Are these the only signs? No, there are other signs too, but these are some signs that you can, if you experience it, then there is some chronic inflammation going on in your body. What can you ask your provider so that you can know your body's inflammation? There are lots of blood markers out there that does help providers to measure the inflammation in your body. The most common one that you can request your provider, your primary care provider, to put in your blood draw order will be something called C-reactive protein. It's a protein that our liver produces, and it's usually found in the blood, and it sometimes, helps with finding out how much inflammation is persistent, is in your body. Of course, there are other biomarkers, but this is the easiest available one. These are some, levels that you can look at. If your CRP level is less than 0.3, that means everything is normal. That's the state to strive to, I would say. But technically, if you see, your provider might say if you have anything less than 10, it's good, right? It's that 80 to 85% level. If there is anything more than 10, that means that, there is something going on and that needs to be resolved, right? So looking for anything, less than 10 is good for your body. And, if you want to strive to something between, 0.3 to 1, that's also fair enough, right? So asking your provider for this. Anybody here kind of have that ordered or have seen, would like to share? Yeah, you have? Yeah, so that's one of the most common, and generally they don't order it. So when you ask for it, they do, and most of the insurances cover it. If it's not covered, what I have seen is, it's like a few dollars out of your pocket, right? But you get to know what's happening in your body. And this is one of those easily available blood markers that you can ask. Now, how can you reduce inflammation in your body? Of course, there are medicines, right? Those steroids, aspirin, ibuprofen, etc., etc., etc. There is a bunch of, medicines that can help calm down your inflammation. Of course, they come with side effects. However, we have this wonderful repertoire of lifestyle choices, AI lifestyle choices that you can implement. We will be, or all through this program, you will be implementing, or with some guidance and support, having an anti-inflammatory food repertoire as part of your eating pattern. Not smoking, alcohol, I would say, limiting is kind of becoming now no alcohol, especially for cancer patients and cancer survivors. So no alcohol. Being active, we will address in week 2. Enough good quality sleep is something to always strive towards too. And then managing your stress levels is something that again we can stress towards too. So what is anti-inflammatory eating pattern? So there are lots of research that has been done in this particular style of eating or way of eating. Women's Health Initiative is a large scale research that was undertaken, and they found significant reduction in blood markers, inflammatory blood markers, when this sort of eating pattern and lifestyle patterns were implemented. Now, what does anti-inflammatory eating pattern mean? It means, having low processed food. So one of the actions that will pop up in your app is to kind of look at your home environment, look at your kitchen, look at your cabinets, look at what processed foods, if any, is there in your environment, and asking that question, do I really need it? Or if you are open to doing an experiment for the upcoming 5 weeks, and say that if there are chips, if there are cakes, if there are pastries, they don't have to be in my home just for this 5 weeks, and then you can reconsider what you want to do. But an eating pattern that is low in processed foods, high in fiber, high in mono and polyunsaturated fats, we will discuss that today. Higher in omega-3s than omega-6, we will discuss that today too. And then higher in polyphenols, this will be next week, and this will be the week after next, right? So making sure that you have foods that is close to Mother Earth, right? How Mother Earth wanted human beings to eat. Incorporating those foods and really looking at any processed or manufactured foods that comes in a box or in a bottle, being curious about the ingredients that's there in those boxes, and seeing if your great-great-grandmother would eat it. I think that's the simplest thumb rule, right? If your great-great-grandmother will not understand it, then what's the purpose of having it in my home? If it's convenience, of course, once in a while, we all need that convenience food, right? But if it's going to be part of your everyday life, then curiously explore what can you have in place of that, right? So that's about this. I wanted to show a graphic, right? So the objective here is to fight inflammation, or to handle or conquer inflammation with food, with other lifestyle patterns, so that your body can move from that injury, inflammatory response to recovery and homeostasis. There is an arrow there that's not there in there. So incorporating low glycemic veggies and fruits, whole carbohydrates which are high in fiber, and we will discuss this today, and there is a tasting, some demo too here today. So mono and polyunsaturated foods, basically a lot of omega-3s, and we'll discuss about that golden ratio in there, and of course a lot of antioxidants as part of your eating pattern. So I'm going to first show you about those healthy fats that are part and parcel of any anti-inflammatory eating pattern. What are the different types of fats that you know of? Unsaturated and saturated. Is there any other fats that you know of? There is one that no longer, it's not there in any of the... Yeah, it's called trans fat. That's not, yeah. So trans fat, saturated fat, mono and polyunsaturated fats, those are the 4 types of fats. So saturated fats and trans fats usually come as part of any red meat that you have, any of those goodies that usually kind of catch our eye. Yeah, I was thinking the same. Where is a donut, right? Yeah, I know. For those who are wondering what, there was one of the classes, I think last year, it was about what's that? Powerful progress, I think, and we got 2 boxes of donuts in front of it. But it was a fun class. It was there all along the way as temptation, but so that's where, most of the, trans fat and saturated fats really kind of stay here, right? But we really want that mono and poly unsaturated fats, and there are lots of sources of poly and unsaturated fats. Who here doesn't love avocado? Doesn't love? Okay. What else do you like here?
Olive oil.
Okay. What else? Yeah, chia seeds, right? There, walnuts, right? So those are, I have more information on what amount of mono and unsaturated, poly unsaturated fats each of this have. So there is lot of opportunities for you to incorporate these as part of your eating pattern. Salmon or any fish does have, lot of omega-3s. So to move further, the mono and poly unsaturated fats are basically, they can be divided into 2, omega-3 and omega-6. They are called essential fatty acids. Why are they called essential fatty acids? Yeah. Does your body make it? Does your body make essential fatty acids? No, your body doesn't make it. It's called essential because you need to eat it, right? If it is non-essential, that means that your body is going to make it. It's essential for you to thrive, right? Which means you need to incorporate it as part of your daily eating pattern. These essential fatty acids are heart healthy. When something is heart healthy, it's definitely going to be anti-inflammatory, right? And the recommendation, how much omega-3s to have as part of your daily eating pattern is around 1 to 2 grams per day. And you will see how easy it is for you to get that as part of your daily eating pattern in a way that works for you. Salmon, around 3 ounces of it has around 2 grams of omega-3, right? So if you incorporate fish as part of your eating pattern, you get it. And these essential fatty acids, they are going to be stored in your tissues. It's not going to go away with your, with your pee or anything like that. It's going to stay in your body, okay? Mackerel is another source. Chia seeds, it's a wonderful source. So if you're someone who likes chia pudding, you can actually, put 1 tablespoon of it and then put anything that you like. It could be inside yogurt, or if you want to, make a big batch of it, you can, put it in those small mason jars and, fill it up with water, and you can scoop it out with yogurt, with oatmeal, with anything that you like. Okay, flax seeds, they are a wonderful source of ALA. We'll discuss what it is. There are 3 types of omega-3, so ALA is one of them. Hemp seeds, just kind of sprinkling a little bit on top of your salads or oatmeal, or I really love taking a teaspoon and just munching sometimes. It's nice and nutty, and it really satisfies that need for, something that calms you down too, right? So hemp seeds are another source of omega-3s. Currently, our population here, at least in the in the US, the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 is 1 to 20. And the recommended place to get it, you have more of omega-6 than omega-3 in our eating pattern. Now, the place to get is, more of omega-3 and less of omega-6. We need both. It's not that omega-6 is bad, but we need more of omega-3 and less of omega-6. And some of the sources of omega-6 are corn oil, soybean oil, safflower oil. If you use any of this, it's time to slowly get it out of your home and kind of replace it with avocado oil or olive oil, or some of those healthier oils, right? So we need less of omega-6, more of omega-3 so that your body can build up that anti-inflammatory capacities and really calm down any inflammatory response that is going on in your body. So, where can we find omega-3? Ground beef, grass-fed, there is omega-3s in that. ALA is alpha lipoleic acid. EPA is eicosapentaenoic acid. DHA is dexahexanoic acid. Okay, so you don't have to know the scientific terms, but there are 3 components to omega-3s: ALA, EPA, and DHA. Of course, there is some saturated fat in those, but those are very, very less, and this saturated fat is healthy compared to the saturated fat in any of your baked goods. Okay, so ground beef has around 87 milligram of ALA, 9 milligrams of EPA, 0 of DHA. If you see here, salmon, right, when it is wild and raw, that has the highest amount of ALA, EPA, and DHA. Do you see that? And then even walnuts are very high in ALA, right? So if you are able to take a handful of, walnut and have it as your snack, you have checked mark your omega-3s for the day in some way, okay? So this gives you a good reference of, some foods that are very high in omega-3, and see how you can incorporate it as part of your daily eating pattern. Okay.
So it is 87 milligrams per 85 gram food serving.
Yes.
85 grams.
Yeah. So ground ounces and even walnuts, it's again 3 ounces of
so
it.
I'm looking here, like we use olive oil and walnut oil. So I'm looking, walnut oil is 11.5 milligrams per 100 grams. And olive oil is 0.7.
0.7.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
much
lesser, right? But I think walnut oil disintegrates much quicker, so you cannot use it for high heat cooking. Avocado oil you can use for high heat cooking, which is, again high in omega-3. So thank you for those numbers. Thank you.
So all the oils are less than 1 milligram per 100 grams except for walnut oil, cod liver oil, and black currant seed oil.
Yeah. So how much of omega-3? American Heart Association recommends that we have fatty fish twice a week, and that gives around 500 milligram of EHA and DHA. I don't think I can open up this guide here, but I'll be sure to put it in your resources in the app. And this kind of gives you a good idea. EWG is Environmental Working Group, and they do research every year. The 2025 one is not out yet, but you can see the 2025 guides of what fish to eat, which of those have lesser mercury, right? What products are have less pesticides and all of that, right? So this particular link kind of gives you an idea of, what seafoods are healthier, how much of omega-3 is in there. So it's a very exhaustive guide that is available for you. FDA also has a link that talks extensively about, eating the different types of fish, what is safe and what is not. So I'll put those in your resources in the app so that it's available for you. You can download it and use it as you are making some small changes in your life. Okay.
Can I say something? So as a general rule, the fish lower down on the food chain, the smaller fish like shrimp, mackerel, sardines, will have less mercury poisoning versus the larger fish higher up on the food chain. Since they keep on eating the smaller fish, they will higher level of mercury and pesticides. So codfish, liver, salmon, big fishes, just a reference point.
Yeah, that's that particular link has that visual too in there. It will show you, like there are fish icons up there, and you can see, visually which ones are lower down in the chain that are much more healthier for you compared to the upper ones, right? So prioritizing more of those lower chain fishes, doesn't mean that you should not have the upper chain ones, but prioritizing more of the lower chain ones rather than, up in the chain as you, incorporate fish in your repertoire. For this upcoming week, hydration is also going to be key. right? Especially in winter and as we are now moving to summer, having at least half of your body weight in the form of water is very key, because water helps flush out all the toxins. Recall, toxins are one of those factors that drives inflammatory response in your body. So drinking water so that you can help your liver, your kidneys and your intestine kind of, flush out the toxins from your body is very, very, very important. And I usually get asked how much water to drink, right? So your body weight, so striving to have at least half of your body weight in ounces, at least always striving for 64 ounces at least every day. Okay, so yeah, 64 ounces, right? So this is, I think this is 24, so 3 times of this will help. And stopping your water intake earlier will be less interruptive to your sleep.
Unless you're not in menopause.
That's a totally different thing, right? Yeah, absolutely. So what are the actions for the upcoming week? Clean up your kitchen. Look for anything that is, sneakily sitting there and take it out. If your significant other or kids say, "Mom, don't take it away," or, "Don't take it away," you can actually put it in a stash and go and place it in their room so that they can have it and you can have you can have more autonomy on how you want to, nourish yourself. Adding omega-3 foods daily to your eating pattern, and then being mindful about hydration. As I mentioned at the beginning of our discussion today, you will get access to that recipe basket. It's like a 3-day anti-inflammatory meal plan. That's how it will come to you, but you are able to search. Like if you put sardines, it will bring up, sardine recipes. If you put in chicken, it will bring up chicken recipes. If you put in walnuts, it will bring up walnut recipes. So you yourself can see what resonates with you and then try it or experiment it, right? So it's a very interactive recipe basket, though it might come to you as a meal plan. Don't go by that word. It's just, a recipe basket for you. You don't have to follow that meal plan like that, but it's again, it's just a lot of ideas for you in there, and feel free to, Google by whatever foods, or, Google in that, in that recipe basket by whatever foods you want to incorporate. You will have access to the smartphone app, which many of you know, have experienced, and there will be small daily lessons there and some check-ins, and also access to community with all our divas here. So feel free to post ideas, share your challenges, share your go-to recipes, so that we all can learn from each other. We learn best from each other, right? So you will get a text and an email for access to the smartphone app. You are also able to access that same app via internet or browser. So if some of you do not want the app, you can actually access it via the internet. And that's a way for you to reach me too. I'm going to be available to you till 29th of March. So I'll be, if you have any questions, you can actually put it in the chat, and I promise I'll get back to you by end of the day. If you put something end of the day, I value my sleep, I'll get back to you the next day. Okay. So, now, with that foundation of what is inflammation, all inflammation is not bad, some good inflammation is needed, what are the types of inflammation, what influences inflammation, and also knowing that omega-3s are one of those compounds that will help you control your inflammation or calm down your inflammation. Let's get to some cooking for today, right? The recipe for today is in front of you. I am a very simple-minded professional and girl, and I don't like things to be complicated at all. So this is a very, very simple recipe. I mentioned here 1 cup of walnuts, but any nuts that you like. Today I have a combination of nuts here. I got them from Costco, a big bag. And always, I don't know, I store my nuts inside the fridge because they have fatty acids. They can get rancid. So when you buy in bulk and after you open it, make sure that you keep it inside the fridge so that you are, maintaining the nutrient profile in there. So any nut of your choice. If you have walnuts, walnuts are very high in ALA, so you can choose to have that. Pumpkin seeds, I mixed everything in here. Pumpkin seeds are again high in omega-3s. They are also a very good plant protein source. And my goodness, they are so crunchy. And for some of us who needs that crunch at the end of the day, this could be a good way. Just, munching on some pumpkin seeds gives you magnesium too, which will help you sleep better at night, right? So, there is a 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds in here. Flax seeds, again, are higher sources of, have high source of or high amount of omega-3s. Who doesn't like chocolate? Right, so there is some cacao powder, cinnamon, and then I mentioned 2 to 4 dates. If you need only subtle sweetness, put 2 dates, but if you need a little bit more, go to 3 or 4. I was mentioning to one of our members here, Shirley here, that, there is no recipe formula that you need to follow here. It's a recipe that is simple. There is a lot of freedom in there, a lot of creativity in there. So, you can make these nut energy bites just the way that it resonates to you, okay? So let me quickly take you through this. For convenience sake, I just put all the nuts, pumpkin seeds and milled flax seeds, cacao powder, ground cinnamon, everything inside this one, okay? And I have a teeny weeny food processor. It's a 4-cup food processor, and going to place all of this inside. I did clean my hands. All of it goes inside, and then I have 1, 2, 3 pitted dates. I bought the whole dates and then just took out the pit out of it. I got it in bulk from Costco. Sam's has it, right? I got it bulk and just took out the pits from it. I have 4 of it here because I don't know the sweetness thermostat of all of my divas. So I kind of went a little, a little more today. But, feel free to experiment it when you are at home and find out what sweetness level you have. Okay, right, and give it a good I usually chop it and then go to grind. When you grind it, the oil from the nuts actually kind of seep into, and then, it's much easier to make it into small energy bites. Just open it and see what's happening. Yeah, it's forming. Yeah, one more time. And forgot to get a container, so I'm going to just be brave enough to put it inside here. It's better to, get a plate and put inside that way, it's much easier to take it. I did wash my hands. And then, make it into small. I'm making it small because there are more of us here, right? It's that easy. How long did it take?
Like a minute.
Minute, right? So when that sweetness need, I need something sweet at the end of the day. What do you go for? Not your cakes, not your pastries.
I usually have yogurt
Yeah, you do.
with all those seeds,
Yeah.
with flax chia and
Yogurt has
or
lot.
honey.
Totally.
Honey. What are the divas recommended? Manuka? Manuka honey?
Manuka honey. Yeah, it comes from New Zealand and yeah.
Pretty good.
How expensive is it? $33 a pound.
Yeah. But it's good.
They say that the local honey has more bioavailability. Like Veronica Hawk's honey was tested by a UT professor against Manuka honey against its antibacterial activity, and hers was better. So locally produced honey has more bioactivity.
What's it called? Local honey.
Local honey.
Oh, local.
And actually, a local honey is better for you if you have any type of
Yeah, because
allergies.
Manuka honey comes from somewhere, and a lot of it is contaminated with sources from China and other countries in terms of origin. So anyway, you can ask Veronica for the study.
Go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah. So I'm just making. I'm just making it into small balls here, and it's something that is very easily done, and you can make it into small orbs. If you want to, you can bake it and then put some chocolate on it, melt some chocolates, and put on top of it. And as I said, your creativity, your imagination, sky's the limit.
You can bake it.
You can bake it too. It'll become, I think the sweetness kind of comes out a little bit more. It won't fluff up, but it's just that exposure to the heat will. What all tastes do you feel in that? What flavors do you get in that? You can put cardamom too if you want to.
How long can you store this? You store it in the refrigerator?
I store it in the refrigerator, stays for a week, but usually it won't be there in the fridge for a week. So all the nuts in here are very high in fatty acids, have protein too in it.
So you can't eat a lot of this. So what is the calorie content?
I don't know about the calories.
Pretty high.
It's not that high. I'm sure you won't be able to eat 5 of them, just like how you might eat 5 of cookies. Whatever I make at home, there is no calorie content associated with it.
She has a pineapple.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it okay to get the frozen salmon from Costco?
Absolutely.
Find it fresh from
Mhm.
the...
Yeah. Atlantic wild raw, it's available in Costco. You can.
Most salmon is frozen, even the fresh one, because when it's harvested, they want to kill the tapeworm infestation. There's a certain tapeworm that happens in seafood. So they're all frozen, so they kill the cyst in the.
You can also add hemp seeds to it. you can add hemp seeds or roll it in hemp seeds if you want to. So, yeah. So, as you guys are tasting, here is the quiz for the week. Inflammation is essential for your body. True or false? True. It's essential for you, right? Walnuts are good source of omega-3s. True or false? True. Two other food sources that I have omega-3. Mackerel, walnut. There you go. Wasn't hard at all, right? A plus for all of you. Thank you, and I'll see you next Saturday, and you will have access to the app and to the recipe basket, and you are welcome to ask any questions through the app, or if you have something now, I can address that too. Thank you for your time.